Radio Drive, hello.
Hello, love. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. Back at work, Shaney boy. What's going on? I'm in. Oh,
Oh,
mate.
we just done one show today. It was lovely. We did a thing. I mean, those that are listening now, it's called a relaxed performance.
What does that? No, you're doing Dick Whittington, aren't you, at Woking? No,
No,
Richmond.
Wimbledon, you
Thank.
tart. I mean,
joking.
Wimbledon. Don't get your research. What's the matter with you? Yeah, Dick Whittington at the new Wimbledon Theatre.
Yes.
And we did a show today, and it's called a relaxed performance, and it's great. They've only started doing it the last few years, where we bring underprivileged, well, mostly severely disabled children or children with autism, and we leave the lights up in the theatre, the band play a little bit quieter, and we just take the show at a different pace. So children of a nervous disposition, especially those that maybe have slight autism, can enjoy the theatre, and it was great. It was lovely just seeing their faces. So yeah, and I've got another show about to start. I don't even know what day it is today. But weren't you supposed to come and see the show, and then you bailed out something about COVID? I don't believe you.
Listen, I'm going to say this about my mate. This is the finest man in Panto by a mile. Graham from the old TV show takes my kids every single year, and Shane, when we went to Woking, mate, it's amazing. Because I fancy doing it, but you've never come through with a serious offer.
Here's the problem about the likes of you and other radio presenters and TV personalities.
Yeah.
The hard part is making it look easy. Once you make it look easy, everybody thinks they can do it.
I could not do what you do. You're a legend, but I'm absolutely...
You.
No, you are, mate. Come on. Listen, it's been a long, long time. And how many pantos have you done? Seriously.
I don't know. The first one I did, funny enough, I was talking about this the other day, and I've never really spoken about it. The first one I did, I think was about 1985 or 1986. I was 19. And I did one with Terry Scott.
Who?
Remember Terry Scott?
Terry and June?
Well, how about this, JK? So Terry Scott did it, and June Whitfield was supposed to do it, and for some reason she pulled out. I don't think that they had a great relationship off screen, but she didn't do it. So in the end, and I think it was Jack and the Beanstalk, and they got Jean Boat. Do you remember Jean Boat?
I'm going to give you all of this. She was in Bread.
That's
Boswell.
Right, and that was the big show in the 80s.
Wow.
And she came and it was her first time. I don't know if she did panto after that, but yeah, and that was one of my first.
Do you know what these buggers are saying in this studio in my ear? You two are sitting there like a couple of old gits. We were two when Shane started in panto.
What they're saying, we're two. Oh, thank you.
I know.
This is what we've got now. We've got the lunatics running the asylum.
So on a
They
serious...
probably think I'm Lionel Richie.
Yeah, absolutely. On a serious note, though, I mean, we talk about everything. You have done everything, and I know you've talked about it before, but you were
But a lot of it not out of choice.
No, I know, but you started as a redcoat. That is a genuine...
No, I didn't start. I'm not even... Firstly, it was a blue coat, and I didn't start in the industry as a blue coat. I was out of work as an actor. I've been touring as an actor from the age of 13, and I was where I grew up in a little fishing village called Holston in London.
Fishing village, yeah.
Yeah, and I was touring doing TIE, which is Theatre and Education, and the school I went to was Willesden High, and they let me out. I'd go and register in the morning, and I'd leg it to the theatre, which was about 2 miles away in Kensal Green, Kensal Rise. And I worked with a professional theatre company, and from there I'd help build sets, staple scripts, and just help a lot of professional actors. And then I'd go out on the road with them. We'd do TIE, which was Theatre and Education. We'd go and play schools, parks, and then from there, and then I become a professional actor at the age of 15. And I started touring, doing like theatre productions. And then one summer in 1980, I was out of work, and I just turned 16. And I thought, I'm not doing anything this summer. What? And I saw, and in the stage newspaper, there was an advert for blue coats at Pontins. And I thought, you know what? I used to go on holiday to Pontins as a kid. I'm just going to have a little summer at Pontins. And I did.
And I know why you went as well, yeah.
Yeah, and in 1980, I did my first season as a blue coat. And then I went back a couple of seasons after. And then for some reason, I got into doing stand-up. And at the age of 18, 19, I stopped. I turned my back on being an actor, and went and did doing the clubs, and I ended up doing stag nights and hen parties up and down the country. At the age of 19, there was a show called Shane Richie's Ladies Night Out, and I was working with strippers and drag queens all over the country. At the age of 19.
No change then, son.
Do you know what I mean? And there I am now. And funny enough, doing the musical, everybody's talking about Jamie. I'm playing a drag queen.
But I mean, to be fair, though, you think about it. You think about acting. You talk about A Blue Coat of Pontins. You talk about Panto, EastEnders. I mean, that was phenomenal. I mean, genuinely multi-talented. My wife's just texted me, Vic. You know, Vic. She's gone. He's absolutely rinsing you, and he makes me realise how talentless you are. Is what my old woman has just texted me.
Every time I see your missus, I always think how much you're punching above your weight, mate.
Every time I see your missus, do you know what I think? I hope he doesn't get home too soon. No, I'm joking, Shaney boy.
I like your pumpkin. There you go. Take that one.
What's the best, though, for you?
Some of the decisions I've made over the years, have had to be financial ones, you know. You know, this whole industry, it's all about hills and troughs. And I always say to any young performer that coming into the industry, never confuse fame with success. I know so many people in the industry, whether they're actors, singers, dancers, comedians, that are really successful and not necessarily famous. They could walk down the street, and I know wonderful actors and comedians go from job to job to job, and they're successful. And I think once you confuse fame with success, then there's a danger of certainly mental issues, and you know, and
but you've always kept it. Because I think one of the great things about what you've done is because of your talent, you've done a variety of different things, right? So for me, after what happened to me with the television, to come back to radio is great, and to write the book that's going to come out next year is great. To be able to try different things. If I was to say to you, Shady, what at your happiest, is it in a musical? Is it in panto? Is it acting on telly? Is it a film? What is it? What musical? What you have done it all. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Jay. I go through phases. I mean, I've loved. When I went into the West End, when I first won, the first big musicals I did was Grease, and that was that was back in '93. And then you know, and I did the game shows in the '90s. I had the big Saturday night, and I really enjoyed doing that. And it's so, I don't know, it's really strange. I miss doing drama on television now. There's talk of maybe doing something next year.
You miss EastEnders?
So EastEnders, well, funny now, how about this, mate? How about this?
Exclusive coming up, by the way.
This is going to age us both now. Now, you're wonderful listeners, I know, the fans of EastEnders. Next year is the 20th anniversary of Alfie appearing in EastEnders.
20 years, man.
2002 was when Alfie Moon appeared.
This will make the kids next door, this will make them think. I remember the very first episode of EastEnders in 1985 when they broke that door down. That was, what was that, 36 years ago? And
Adam Woodyatt was in that. And funny enough, I'm seeing Adam over the next couple of years.
How much weight's he lost?
He looks great, doesn't he?
I'll tell you what, divorce works for him, doesn't it?
Well, I don't think it's much that. I think it's living in a motorhome.
I think so. I don't think you can't cook any food at all. So if you were asked and they said to you, right, your last ever gig before you go to that place in Aberystwyth where we all go when it's all over and we sit with blankets on our legs and go, do you remember 2001, dear, when we did the Royal Variety? What would be the last ever gig for Shane Richie?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? I've not done a stand-up gig, and I mean a stand-up tour. Last stand-up tour I did was 1999. A few years ago, just before the pandemic kicked in, I was working on a new stand-up because there's a lot I want to talk about and get off my chest, you know. And I think I want to go and do so. I want to go out and do a stand-up tour. I
think that must be. I genuinely mean this. I think to be able to. Sad news, by the way, about Jethro yesterday. What a talented comedian he was.
You know, I had the pleasure of, back in the 80s, you know, shows that myself, Brian Connolly, Bradley, Joe Scott, we did them big shows in the 80s, like Summertime Special and all that. And I had the pleasure of meeting him back then.
Do you know why he was called Jethro?
Because his real name is
Geoffrey Rowe, and he was a tax inspector. And he said, I'm going to become a stand-up comedian and own 1,000 showing ponies. And he did it. And a Rolls Royce in Cornwall. So funny, mate. The funny... Alive, just as dry as a bone. A
wonderful philanthropist. A lot of people don't know a lot of the businesses he saved.
Yeah,
you know, certainly down in Cornwall. You know, he helped a lot of businesses out.
Just that ability to be able to stand on stage with the audience in your hand, to be able to you watch McIntyre and you watch. It's just amazing, Peter Kay. Yeah. It's just power, right?
And it's funny because back in the 90s, you know, you had comics like Lee Evans was my support act on a couple of shows. And I've seen these guys just fly, you know.
The O2, 60,000 people, sellout.
I know. And like, you know, Mickey Flanagan I saw in a club some years ago, same with Dara O'Brien. And
best line I've ever heard from a comedian, Mickey Flanagan. And I thought, You know, observational comedy. He said, you know, when you're going on holiday, and he said, you run around the house. He said, you turn off everything because you're scared there's going to be electrical fire. You turn off the lights, you turn off this, you turn off that. You go out the front door, but you've left the bloody fridge on. It's true, isn't it? I think he's fantastic as well.
Yeah,
But
no,
I get that stand up.
As well.
I get that stand up. The thing about
stand up, you fly by the seat of your pants in stand up, and you know, you're judged on, you know, that very show on that particular night. Whereas when you're doing theatre, you're going to be there for like 12 weeks or however long the show is, whether it's musical or a play, and you have time to get it right. And it's the same thing doing a TV drama. If you get the lines wrong, stop, cut, do it again. You've got a safety net. But when you're doing stand-up, and I love being around stand-up comics and listening to their fears and you know, what inspires them to write material. So now I'm at that age, I'm in my mid-50s now, and there's, you know, I've got a lot I want to talk about. And I want to talk about what it was like being famous very young, and how people confuse me with Alfie Moon, and there's a lot of material there to be had. You've
got a famous son though, haven't you?
Well, I've got 3 sons. Which one are we talking about?
The musical one, kid.
Oh, Jake from Push Baby. Yeah, his album is I think it's just about to come out, or it's being released very soon. And he's doing well. He's back down south. Funny enough, he's coming to the show next week. My eldest son's getting married next year.
Granddad.
My 15-year-old's just gone out to see Spider-Man with his mates.
Granddad, me.
Okay, so am I.
Are you? How many?
I don't want to talk about it.
Do you like it? I like being Granddad because you can give them back.
No, I don't even like even talking about it.
All right, listen. One thing I'm going to tell you.
Dad, never mind a granddad.
One thing I'm going to tell you. You're at the Wimbledon Theatre from the 4th of December till the 2nd of January. Do you know what time your last performance on the 2nd of January is?
Are we doing a 7 o'clock show?
Yeah. And guess what?
Why not? We're doing 5:30.
You know, I had COVID.
Yeah, so you say. I reckon you just had a heavy cold.
I bought 20 tickets, for God's sake. Little did I get anything free from you, you tight ass.
So why could the other 19 not come then?
It's true.
There you go. That shut you up, didn't it, eh? Oh, my ego wouldn't let me. No, if I can't go, no one's going to see TV's Alfie Moon. You know what I mean?
Completely done me.
Sugar tits, you can still come and see the show.
I'm coming on the 2nd. I'm bringing them all back, okay?
Okay, well, I shall make sure we get together.
Yeah, don't you start all that embarrassing stuff. There's that short-ass cut. Listen, Ledge, such a pleasure. And honestly, so many people saying it's great to see you. Good luck with everything at the Wimbledon Theatre. Shane, Richie.